One.
Here with head coach Mark Redburn from Southeast Missouri in your 10th season, and team has picked to finish first. Kind of what are your thoughts on your team being picked as preseason favorites?
It's nice. It's an honor, but it's just exactly that. It's a preseason thing, and I think our conference is, well balanced this year. And as I tell our players, the preseason stuff, it's nice to be recognized and acknowledged, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there and play, I guess 27 conference games.
Uh, Kind of what is the outlook for your team this season? Last year you won the conference tournament. I'm sure you want to get back to the NCAA tournament. What are some of the things that you're looking for and you see from your program?
Well, you're right. For us, it's we didn't feel like we had a good tournament last year. It's just one of those things you just can't explain. You don't necessarily know why. But I had a sense and a feeling as the tournament was going on, just some little things. And, there's those moments of where can you fix it and correct it and, get it right there in the moment. And then there's just times where, it's not necessarily anything where people weren't ready to play or anything like that. It just, wasn't our weekend. And so I think that's been a motivating factor for our players, especially our seniors. They've talked about it in the off season during the winter break. Those were things that our seniors were following up with a lot of our younger players about being prepared when we come back in January and ready to go. So I know that, it was unfortunate last year, but I think it's certainly a motivating factor for us right now. We want to go and play the conference regular season, but we're thinking about a 3-day weekend here at the end.
How great is it to have what seems to be some good leadership there as you're talking about your veterans, really instilling into your newcomers that this is where we want to be and this is what we need to do to get back to that point.
Yeah, I mean, from that standpoint, I'm really excited about this group. I mean, we have 25 players on the roster. 13 of those are juniors and seniors. And so much like our 2019 team that had a lot of success, I believe that this could be one of our best offensive teams that we've had in the history here at SEMO. And so we've got a lot of depth. We went out, we added 3 freshman pitchers. We returned all of our all-conference players, including the player of the year in Aubrey Shore. So I feel like this is kind of the year for us. Like I said, we've got everybody back. And then, we've got 12 freshmen and sophomores. So a real good group there that's getting a chance to learn from a very veteran, oriented group. So I know that will help our program down the line, but we feel like our time is now this year with the experience that we have and the 5 pitchers that we have. And so we're pretty excited about the year. And but again, at the end of the day, we always say, all other 9 teams in the conference or 8 teams in the conference are saying the same thing. So you just got to go out and prove it, each and every weekend.
Okay. What are some of those things that you're looking at that maybe even that one thing that needs to be in contention to winning that championship this year? As you talk about this incredibly offensive program or team, I should say, good pitching staff and so on. But what's that one thing that's needed?
I think it's just the consistency, from that junior senior group. We're certainly going to have some sophomores and, like I said, 3 freshman arms, as well as some other freshmen that I think will contribute. But I think it's just realizing and understanding they got to step up and, this is the moment. And if they want that moment, they've got to go get it. They got to go take it. And so it's playing with that confidence, and understanding that we can't have a lot of let-ups. We can't have, weekends where we take it off. I think, again, last year was kind of that moment that left a sour taste in our mouth, but for a good reason. And so we're just going out there and approaching it to, each and every game, every weekend to be as dominant as we possibly can. We're not going to try to lower ourselves to our opponents, or anything like that, or necessarily rise up against other opponents. But we're gonna just try to go out with a dominant, kind of mindset and feeling each and every game.
Coach, you put together a very, very competitive non-conference schedule. Some very strong tournaments, some good locations, but also some teams that are sitting in the top 25, top 40 teams in the country. Kind of talk to us a little bit about the slate and the thought process about putting together such a challenging schedule.
Been one of those that it's about record, win loss record. Even when I was a head coach at Evansville and that sort of thing. This is probably one of the things that I learned when I was an assistant coach at Missouri. We were out there playing Arizona States, and all the non-con Washingtons. And at the time they were in the Big 12, so Alabama's, whatever. And that's kind of how I've always been. If you believe you're a big dog, go play with big dogs. And that's again kind of the mindset that we get our players to think and believe. We're not saying that we think we're better than, people in the conference or anything like that. I'm just trying a mindset amongst our players in our program. So I've always our toughest schedule that I've had in our 10 years here. Again, twice against Ohio State, Auburn, Arkansas, Missouri, Maryland twice, Syracuse, some non-con stuff against the two-time Missouri Valley defending champion, Northern Iowa, South Dakota State, who was undefeated Horizon champion last year. So you're right. We fear no one. We've always said we will play anyone, anywhere, anytime. And it's about playing good teams, getting better, being prepared, so that once we get into our conference, we feel like we've seen a lot of good pitching, a lot of good offenses, and we're ready now to go into conference play.
Coach, final question for you today. The OVC championships have moved, and we're up in Peoria, Illinois this year. What's your thoughts about that, as well as it, being maybe a little closer to home for you?
Well, it's twofold. One, I like that. I really love her. Those people were great to us down there, and they always took care of us. I understand the move and our footprint as a conference and everything like that. But I certainly really enjoyed that, atmosphere and environment that they helped to create, the stadium feel. And I believe that's what it should be for our players, for our conference, that we should have that feel, especially as a mid-major where, it's going to be really difficult for us to always get an at-large bid, and the second team from the Ohio Valley gets to go to a regional. So I feel like, our conference tournament should be, as much of a championship feeling environment as we possibly can get. So, Peoria, I think, is the next best thing. I've been there numerous times recruiting and camps and so on, but it will be a first time for us playing on the artificial turf. That'll be a little bit different. But it is close to home. I like that. I think a lot of our families and, players, families, things like that can be there. So I'm looking forward to it.
Great, Coach. We thank you for your time, and we wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you. I appreciate all you do.